Hello, everybody, and welcome to the bonus episode of Todd's podcast. When we first started this podcast, the goal was to publish about 20 episodes stretching from Labor Day to Memorial Day. Now, as you are currently enjoying our 20th episode with Captain Nate Kahn, the commanding officer of the NOAA Hurricane Hunters and the Aircraft Operations Center at Lakeland Linder Airport, I wanted to record a bonus episode reviewing our first 20 episodes and talking about how close we came to our initial mission for the podcast, as well as what to expect in some upcoming episodes. First, I want to thank Eli Nicholson, my producer, for 18 of these episodes, and Michael Huntley, who pitched in for 2 of them. I think Eli's gotten better as my producer, and I know I've gotten better at the interview process, and that the quality of our podcast and our marketing of it has greatly improved. I also want to thank Jennifer, Emily, and Evangelina for all their help in making the first 20 episodes successful and making the podcast successful overall. My initial thought when I launched this effort was to have interesting people with interesting stories come in and visit for about 45 minutes to an hour, giving our listeners a chance to find out more about the people who lead us, that lead our industries, and that also keep us safe. I wanted to do audio only because it's easier to produce and publish, and it makes for a more relaxed atmosphere in the studio. I thought most people would listen to this on their daily commute, coming and going to work, maybe doing some yard work, or just sitting around relaxing in their off time at home. My goal was to promote our guests and what they have to say and not play gotcha with them in any way. So far, I think we've achieved these goals. But I also wanted to bring music to the podcast, maybe play a song or two and discuss the artists that we were listening to. That has not happened. To play these tunes, you have to pay for the rights to the songs, and we don't have a budget for that yet. I also wanted to bring a little humor to the appropriate spot on the podcast, and I will try to be better at this. I want you to look forward and enjoy your time that we spend together on the podcast. I'm also searching for new and interesting guests. Some of you have responded with some folks and some names, and we're working on getting them on the show, so please keep the suggestions coming. Originally, I wanted to stay away from politics and real estate. In politics, no one's really changing anyone's mind right now, so it's tough to discuss political issues. That said, we've had 2 great guests. The first was Congressman Scott Franklin, and Congressman Franklin is a Navy pilot, veteran, turned Florida congressman, and throughout the episode, Congressman Franklin takes us on a journey from his initial catapult launch off of an aircraft carrier into the intricacies of both local and federal politics. We also discuss some of the challenges, the complexities of modern politics, and his insights into leadership, public service, and decision-making. We also had Commissioner Bill Braswell. I caught up with Bill, and we talked about it, where he came from, his modest beginnings in Bartow, Florida, on his education and career choices, the military, and his aviation experience, and how he eventually transitioned into agriculture. With such a diverse career, he's been an active leader in both the military and public office. In that episode, we pivoted to a story that was so captivating. It was him as a pilot for an airline flying into New York the day of 9/11 when that tragedy happened. He highlighted the chaos that engulfed the aviation industry for that day, the chaos that enveloped his flight, and how he had to get home. Not only has Bill been an excellent friend, he's been a resilient public servant. Bill is a leader who is clearly committed to his community's well-being and success. Also, I wanted to stay away from real estate for the most part because my brokerage, SVN Saunders Ralston Dantzler Real Estate, is already doing 1 or 2 podcasts and shows on real estate and related issues. Data, while important, is tough to discuss on a podcast without graphics. My partner, Gary Ralston, is an excellent instructor and is quite adept at doing this on his YouTube series, Data Break, with Gary Ralston. Linda Schultz, who is one of our young, smart, and successful advisors, has done a great job on her podcast on the real estate side. It's entitled In Our Expert Opinion Real Estate Podcast. I suggest and urge you to try these out as well. 3 of our highest episodes featured Bud Strang, the CEO of 610, And he talks about his company, the urban development work that they are doing in downtown Winter Haven. And while revitalizing their community, 610 also integrates residential, commercial, and recreational spaces to create a vibrant live, work, play environment. Bud is an effective leader who values consensus and the power of improving one's own backyard. We also talked about the importance of real estate development and economic growth. Along with Bud, we had Margie Grant, the CEO of the Florida Realtors. With our conversation with Margie, we explored some of her early leadership experiences, outlining her journey from law school to now managing a prestigious 243,000 member organization. And the discussion also covers the challenges that she faced managing a large staff and a very large very large association during the global pandemic. How she led, what she did, and how their staff pivoted to be able to render fantastic service to the members of the Florida real estate business. We also discussed the introduction of artificial intelligence into the real estate industry and what effect that may have. Dr. Brad O'Connor, who's the chief economist of the Florida Realtors, he also stopped by. With Brad, we discussed the state's housing market, employment trends, and the broader economic impacts and implications of national politics and what those impacts have on local markets. Brad gave his perspective on how different economic factors like mortgage rates and inflation are impacting the real estate sector, and also how his expertise helps to interpret complex data into valuable insights for realtors and consumers alike. All the while remembering that I have been a commercial real estate broker for over 42 years and hold the coveted CCIM designation. I am a partner here at SVN Saunders Ralston Dancer Real Estate. Oh yeah, Todd's podcast is recorded out of our studio right here in these offices. The first 20 episodes have enjoyed our share of Grady Judd. From delivering a baby at 16 to becoming a prominent leader in Central Florida, this episode we actually got 2 episodes from Grady. These episodes provided a unique glimpse into the life, the trials and triumphs of a true public servant. How the sheriff prepares for his many press conferences, the vision behind his philanthropic projects like Polk Sheriff's Charities, and the sheriff's involvement in the creation and continual operation of the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School Public Safety Commission. The exciting interview not only examines one of the most important jobs in Polk County, but also reveals the profound satisfaction the sheriff finds in each of these roles. I think if you take a listen to his episode, you'll also find out some personal information about our sheriff, how he grew up, how he met his wife, and how important his wife is in helping to guide him in his career. We also had 3 retired 2-star Air Force generals. One was Major General Jake Palumbo. We talked about his distinguished Air Force flying career. He shares his extraordinary military journal and the leadership insights he gained along the way, from growing up in a military family to pushing the limits of an F-16 fighter jet, and also to the U-2 spy plane over enemy territory during Gulf War. We also discussed Two Blue Aces, General Palumbo's consulting firm specializing in leadership, the strategy of leadership, business development, and also in mentoring. Another one of the generals that we met with was Major General Larry Martin. He's a retired 30-year Air Force veteran and senior consultant at Two Blue Aces as well. He joined us for a great conversation about leadership, the military, and what it took to become a general officer in the United States Air Force. Larry has traveled all over the world and shared some of his favorite planes as well as his most interesting stories from his time in the military. General Martin is also co-author of Leadership at 100 Feet, a great book for business leaders seeking to develop better leadership within their organizations. If you enjoy this episode, you should definitely read General Martin's book and check this out at his consulting firm, Two Blue Aces. The last of our 3 retired generals in the first 20 episodes is Major General Robert Mumbles Palumbo, the younger brother of Jake Palumbo. He's a distinguished 2-star general, senior consultant at Two Blue Aces, and Rob joined us and shared some of his aviation stories and provided our listeners with valuable leadership insights. One of my favorite stories was Near Rocks, Far Rocks, and that's in the first book that they wrote, Leadership from 30,000 Feet. We also explored the world of fighter jet pilot training, the complexities of different aircraft, and the importance of critical thinking in every successful career. General Palumbo is also for the 22 Project, a nonprofit organization that provides hyperbaric oxygen therapy to veterans with traumatic brain injuries. Whether you're a fan of aviation or interested in leadership, this episode is a must-listen that shares the story of a decorated Air Force veteran. We then moved on to an episode with Juliet Val, the current Miss Florida. Juliet, she joined our episode of Todd's podcast to share her inspiring journey and experiences in the world of beauty pageants. The discussion spans from Juliet's childhood passion for performing to her plans to compete in the Miss America contest that was held in January of 2024. Juliet also highlights her platform's focus on raising awareness about chronic kidney disease and the importance of leading a very healthy lifestyle. We also had Dr. Angela Falconetti. She's the president of Polk State College. Throughout the conversation with Angela, she shared her impressive academic journey, the challenges of education funding through the state and federal government, and the role of Polk State College plays in the community. Additionally, she emphasized the important mission of community colleges in fostering workforce development. The conversation also touched on Dr. Falconetti's personal and work-life balance, where she juggles many roles as a mother, a wife, a college president, and also a community leader. The other educator we had was Dr. Randy Avent. Randy is the outgoing president of Florida Polytechnic University. He recently announced his retirement. We got him right before he retired. He reflected on his time at the university, its accomplishments, and its mission to advance technological education and research. He also talked about how the process of forming the university took place, the difficulties that they faced, and the success that they had built upon that was already there when he began. He shared his diverse interests from dirt biking and woodworking to his plans for conducting research at the University of Barcelona this summer. We also touched on the role of applied research in our economy and the importance of student housing and the future of the prestigious Florida Polytechnic University. The next guest we had was Mr. Fred Hyde. He is the Polk County School Superintendent. Fred talked about his journey in education and his leadership, as well as his deep passion for students. We explored the various facets of public education, including challenges in teacher recruitment and retention, and the important role of volunteers and mentors in the school system. We talked about leadership styles, stress management, school board dynamics, and even Mr. Hyde's fascination with Bigfoot. The episode gave us a comprehensive look into the world of education, their leadership, and the community involvement in Polk County. It's a great listen for educators, parents, and community members alike. I would encourage you all to go back and take a listen to Fred's podcast. We were also very fortunate to have two great professional athletes. One was Rowdy Gaines, and Rowdy joined us, I think his was the third episode, and Rowdy's a three-time Olympic gold medalist and swimming's greatest ambassador. Rowdy, among other topics, shared our unique past as childhood friends, the mental and physical preparation of competing and competitive swimming, and some of the advantages and challenges that Rowdy faced with the 1980 Summer Olympics boycott, how he handled that, how he prepared for the 1984 Olympics, where he did set world records again and won 3 gold medals, what he did in the time between 1980 and 1984, and also some of his philanthropic work with organizations like Step Into Swim. The other professional athlete that we had was Trey Mancini. Trey is a Winter Haven product. He played baseball in the major leagues and was the 2021 American League Comeback Player of the Year. Trey played with the Baltimore Orioles. He opened up about his baseball journey and battle with cancer, his resilience, humility, and unwavering commitment to making a difference. And that can clearly be seen both on and off the field. Throughout the episode, we talked about various topics ranging from baseball statistics to growing up in Winter Haven and on Trey's battle with cancer. He also promoted his subsequent foundation dedicated to supporting others facing health challenges. One of our guests was Stephanie Connors, the president and CEO of Baycare Health. In this podcast episode, Stephanie shared her inspiring journey from a background in West Philadelphia to her current leadership role. She emphasizes the importance of compassion in nursing on leadership, sharing personal stories that highlighted the profound impact of kindness on patient care. We also discuss Baycare's mission, their culture, and innovative approaches to healthcare delivery, underscoring their organization's dedication to exceptional patient outcomes and community involvement. The episode told listeners of the importance of compassionate leadership while also displaying Stephanie's passion for healthcare, her organization, and the people that she leads, and also for her community. Gene Conrad was up next, and he talked about the Sun and Fun organization here in Lakeland. Gene is the president and CEO of the Aerospace Center for Excellence, and we talked about the 2024 Sun and Fun Aerospace Expo, which is the second largest air show in the United States. This year, the event included thrilling air shows highlighted by the United States Air Force Thunderbirds. And folks, if you've never seen it, you've got to come out. They have the Thunderbirds or the Blue Angels typically every other year, and incredible air shows. They also had military displays, lectures, and it's a great family atmosphere and excellent food and entertainment. Gene talked about some of his childhood experiences working with his father at various airports, his previous role as director of the Lakeland and Linder International Airport, and some aerospace education and fundraising efforts. You won't believe it, but Santa Claus even stopped by just before Christmas to spread a little Christmas cheer and hope to the world. While providing some comic relief in this holiday season, Santa discussed some topics of magical reindeer, his ultimate skincare routine, strange toy requests, and some of the North Pole's best-kept secrets. You don't want to miss this episode. Who knows? We may have him back this year if we can book him and get on his schedule. Maybe we can get the Thanksgiving turkey to stop by and tell us the history of Thanksgiving. Who knows? And also, we rounded out the last of the first 20 episodes with Captain Nathan Shaka Khan, who I mentioned earlier. Captain Khan is the commanding officer of NOAA Hurricane Hunters at the Aircraft Operations Center in Lakeland, Florida. And as hurricane season approaches, we timed this episode to help you prepare and find out a little bit about what the Hurricane Hunters do. He discussed his role as a hurricane hunter pilot. He detailed the challenges and importance of flying into these devastating storms. And he also gave some insight into the makeup of the crew, some mission-specific highlights, and how he manages his team in an effort to keep them in peak shape to perform their important duties. We also talked about some bigger picture items, his background as to how he got into this branch of service, how he personally distresses, and when he goes home at night, what he does to help with that de-stressing. Yep, the first 20 episodes have been fun. They've been informative and sometimes challenging. Moving forward, I may have more athletes, some high-level military folks talking about leadership, maybe another economist a little closer to the election, and maybe even a politician or two, and a scientist or two. We want to try and have a well-rounded podcast, but always we try to get someone who's interesting and hopefully that you'll want to spend some time with, getting to know them and also their story. And I'm certainly going to try to get a little more real estate into the podcast, not just a data dump or too deep in shift share analysis or employee immigration theory, but some high-level information and wonderful guests to help bring it to you. I do appreciate all of you who have made the first 20 episodes great so far, and I look forward to the next 20. I hope you will too by subscribing or following, liking us on social media, and forwarding our website out to your friends and family. That website is todddansler.com. That's how we're going to build our audience, by your efforts in helping us to promote our show just send it out to them at todddancer.com or Todd's Podcast. We're on Apple, Spotify, all the places you get your normal podcast. And we're free, so it's even better. I want to thank you all for your support, and I will see you again next week. Please take care.